This is our first quarter working on a new project, HS4X, which is an evolution upon two successful crowdsourcing projects, habit sourcing and low effort sensing 4X. High level, we spent most of this quarter defining HS4X as a standalone research project, which involved applying for a URG and solidifying our design arguments. We also ran a user study at the end of the quarter, allowing us to evaluate our design arguments and test the feasibility of our app design.
We began this quarter by attempting to understand the design problem, building up our iOS technical skills, and diving into the research presented by the habit sourcing and 4X papers. We looked into the common problems faced by crowdsourcing, mainly that it's difficult to incentivize data collection volunteers to reliably gather data that is both high coverage and high fidelity. We decided that HS4X is an investigation on what incentivizes participants and how to use this information to collect more valuable data for researchers. With our project, HS4X, we attempt to develop a new crowdsourcing approach that incorporates the 4X framework into a habit sourcing application to dynamically generate interactions that are new and engaging for users and allow for scaffolded data collection.
We spent a significant amount of time this quarter defining the obstacles HS4X will address and the corresponding characteristics that we want our project to have. One of our main concerns during this process was differentiating our project from habit sourcing and 4X. Researching habit sourcing and 4X, we found that while both projects have made valuable initial contributions to solving the problem statement previously specified, both projects still have plenty of room for development. While the habit sourcing research proposes a method of incentivizing users to collect information, it does not address covering gaps in coverage or fidelity in the data, providing an approach to dynamically acquiring more data, or leverage previously collected data to keep the experience novel and engaging for the users. The first two challenges are instead addressed by 4X, which describes a data scaffolding framework consisting of 4 types of interactions: explore, expand, exploit, and exterminate. Yet the third goes unaddressed, and this is what HS4X focuses on. After coming to understand the gaps habit sourcing and 4X left in this design space, we synthesized a list of unique obstacles for our project. These include the following. 1. It is difficult to ensure that users' experience will simultaneously be enjoyable, habit building, and enable relevant and non-redundant data collection. 2. Experiences that simply repeat with each use of the app may cause the user to get bored and stop using the app. 3. Users may have a specific route in mind or may wish to run wherever they want. This can prevent a pre-constructed narrative from being cohesive. These obstacles are unique to HS4X, and, after defining them, we worked to produce the characteristics that would address these obstacles. We decided upon the following characteristics that each address an obstacle. 1. The HS4X Opportunity Manager takes into account coverage and fidelity of previously collected data to rank interactions and prompt the user with ones that will have the potential to expand upon the current knowledge base while simultaneously being interesting to the habit-building user. 2. We will prioritize giving the user new interactions and encourage deviation from their normal routes. 3. We will offer the user standalone, opportunistically generated interactions rather than a pre-constructed set at the beginning, so that they may take any route they want and still receive relevant interactions in the app. From these definitions, we decided that our high-level outcome is the following. HS4X takes previously collected environmental data and provides an experience for the user that simultaneously encourages their habit-building practices and allows for data collection that maximizes coverage and quality.
With these characteristics defined and a formalized Polaris sheet, we then worked on creating a concrete example of an HS4X interaction. We created a template for what we thought a habit sourcing interaction with the 4X framework would look like and brainstormed a number of interactions using this template. This template allowed us to design the system for a proof of concept application to support our research. We decided to iterate upon the Zombies interactive application presented in the habit sourcing paper, modifying and expanding it so that we can use it as a proof of concept for the assertions made by habit sourcing 4X. We also wrote out a tech design, breaking down the different components of our application. The architecture differs from the habit sourcing project in that all logic is moved to a back-end Python server. The front-end iOS app regularly posts data, including timestamp and location, to an endpoint, which consults the Opportunity Manager for the relevant moments. Taking into account the user's location, the Opportunity Manager returns any interactions within range of the user which they have not already seen. The server then sends this interaction to the iOS app, which displays it on screen and plays the corresponding audio. For now, the action verifier has not been implemented, and instead of a push notification listener, We simply return any relevant interactions in the same HTTP request when the app posts the location data.
With our design arguments and conceptual contributions defined, we were able to submit an undergraduate research grant, or URG, to fund the studies we intended to run. This was a points-heavy task and required iteration upon iteration, with feedback from many sources, including our SIG and Peter Savetta. In the end, we were successful in receiving a grant.
With the URG submitted and a working proof of concept, we were able to run a formative study to determine what constitutes a good 4X interaction. The following demo is an accurate representation of what the users in our study experienced. From this study, we were looking to differentiate the qualities of a good habit sourcing 4X interaction from those of a habit sourcing and 4X individually. While we had brainstormed what we thought might make up an engaging HS4X interaction, we wanted to verify these assumptions. We enlisted participants over Slack for a 30-minute session in which the user would take a phone preloaded with the habit sourcing 4X app on a run from forward to the arch. They were told they'd be prompted with one interaction, but they were not told at which point along the run it would happen, and they could self-direct their running experience by choosing to either follow the prompt or simply continue on their way to the arch. After they returned to forward, a 10-minute structured discussion of their experience resulted in some interesting findings.
In addition to running a formative study, we also had the opportunity to conduct a 30-minute status update during class time. While we considered having everyone use the proof of concept app just like in our formative study, we decided it would be a logistical nightmare and require more points than we had available. Instead, we were able to take advantage of the time to have students pair up and brainstorm 2 to 3 HS4X interactions. This provided us with a large sample set of interactions to pull from for future studies. Also, it provided insight into what students thought would make an interaction engaging, and it revealed common challenges and pitfalls in brainstorming these interactions. For example, having a user perform an embarrassing action in public.
We compiled and analyzed the results of our study and status update, placing our findings in our end-of-quarter deliverable, the research canvas. The study, in particular, provided a great deal of insight, and one of our next steps is to update our application to incorporate what we have learned from the study, such as including audio clips at the beginning and the end of the run to making the narrative more immersive, into the application. It is also clear that we need to run a larger, more formal study, and that will be one of the goals for the next quarter.